Hey everybody, how you doing? Got a great knife reveal today. It's Jim's Knives, and this is an awesome set. And I got to share it with you because it took some fighting. I had some struggles going through these knives and getting this complete, but I wanted to share it with you. So let's sit down and I'll show you what I got. Alrighty. Oh, excuse me, guys. A bit chilly in the shop today, man. For some reason. Oh, I think you guys are crooked. There we go. Get you straightened out here a little bit. Well, these are Jim's knives, and these got ordered beginning of the year, and it's just slowly processing through knife orders and stuff. But this knife set, it's a really nice knife set. There's a lot of story behind it. He wanted leather sheaths, and man, the leather was just giving me troubles. I had leather gremlins that would not let go of me for the life of me. But finally, yesterday, shook them all off. I won the battle. Worked out great, so I got Jim's knives done. And what's nice about these knives is Jim had wanted his knives made. He didn't want anything fancy. Nothing really, he didn't want liners or, a really custom decorative pin in the middle. But what he wanted, and the big specific was, he sent me wood. Now, Jim's down in Indiana, and he had a big hunk of maple that he had on that came off his family farm, and a little tiny bug flying around here. He had a big hunk of maple that he had off his family farm, and so it got sent to me, and I cut through it a little bit and found some really nice pieces that had some good character to it. It wasn't a curly maple, it wasn't a bird's eye maple or spalted maple. It was just a big hunk of really hard maple, and it was 20 some years old. That it was just laying up in the shop, but it was from a tree off of their property. And getting these knives, he wanted the scales out of that wood, so no problem. So he sent me the wood, found some nice pieces. I did some stabilizing. Matter of fact, I think I might have talked about it in one of my stabilizing videos that I did, but turned out really nice. So that was the really big caveat, other than wanting leather sheaths. Well, what I ended up doing is Jim wanted a Montana and a Skinner as a knife set, and the knives themselves were in a challenge. It was the leather that ended up being a challenging situation, and that was because as I was going through the leather, it seemed like I was having problems with both the as I was working on the leather, I dampen it, and then all of a sudden I'd get these little tiny spots, these little blotches on the leather, and it looked like it was mold or something. The spots weren't there before, but they ended up showing up afterwards. So that wasn't really good. And then I had another one I was working on a Montana sheath, and as I started getting it together, I dyed it, and I had these blotches where the stain wouldn't absorb into the leather. Now, I think that maybe I got some of the glue. I was using a certain glue to adhere the leather together when I put the welt and everything in. I might have gotten something on there. Maybe that's the case. I don't remember seeing it when I was doing it. So that's what was odd, that it maybe dried clear and I didn't notice it. But anyhow, so that and then just fighting with a couple of little struggles or here and there and something that I just wasn't pleased about. But yesterday I finished them all up and going to get ready to box them all off. But of course I had to do pictures, and I had to share these knives with you guys because these are pretty cool. So of course I'm going to put pictures in here as I'm talking about it, as well as the end of the video. But the first knife here Jim has is a Montana. Again, simple style of the Montana, no fancy pins. I just did a couple of 1/8 inch brass pins, as well as a brass lanyard tube in the back. Standard signature taper tang, but really good feeling hand. Like I said, it's simple, but it's really pretty in its simplicity, I think. The maple, stabilized maple, turned out really good. As you can see, I was able to grab some character out of the middle of that block, and the block he sent me was all of maybe 15 by 12 by 4 inches thick or something, just to try to get something out of there. So I cut up several pieces and was able to find that, but worked out really good. And then again, I did it in the leather, and I made this new style, and I think if I do leather sheaths, I'm definitely going to do this because this has gotten a lot of input from people that have seen the knife so far. Just turned out really good. I finished it all off, of course, with Obanoffs, leather protectant. It's got a couple of coats. And what I do is I'll use the heat gun and I'll heat the leather up, and then I apply the leather protectant by hand. And it works really good. And I've probably done a video about it, talking about, you know, the leather stuff and what I was doing, but it worked really nice. It finished up the leather really good. And of course, now that I have my new logo, I was able to get my logo on the back of the sheath, so that was really cool, my leather stamp. But otherwise, really nothing else to say other than this was a first. This was a first style design, and it was the first time I ever did a hunting set with leather, and it turned out really nice. Now the Skinner got a very similar sheath. Now the top part is shaped differently, of course, because the knives are shaped differently, and this is so small, but I kept the matching curve at the welt at the end of it, and it was really nice. And just a simple little line going through there, just to kind of, you know, dress it up a little bit, give it a little bit something. But again, same finishes that I did on the Montana have on the Skinner, and the Skinner too is finished off with his maple that I stabilized here in house, with a simple 1/8 inch brass pin and a lanyard tube in the back. Really just you know, nothing, you know, like the fancy burls or the dyes that I've been, dyed acrylic stabilized that I've been doing, but sometimes it's the simple things in life that just let the grain and the story behind the knife speak for itself. And that's what I really liked, and that's why I wanted to keep the sheaths kind of simple but a little bit classy, keeping this curve like that. I really thought it looked well, and it lent itself well with the curves and the look of the Montana. So I really thought that blended well together. So Jim, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the business. I mean, hopefully you like these knives. I'm going to get them mailed off here soon and get them down to you in Indiana, so it'll be great. I know you don't probably do Facebook and all that other stuff, but just thanks anyhow. If you ever end up Facebook, you can, hey, send a picture or something, you know, make a little comment over there, CK Knife and Tools, how you can find me. But other than that, yeah, it was really, really nice. And again, I'll just throw pictures on here because the pictures speak for themselves. So, guys, thanks for everything. I did want to tell everybody thank you. I mean, the channel's been growing really well, but the knife business is growing really well too, and it's worked pretty good. So I have recently put out some videos with some new information and changes here in the shop, and looks like it's all positive so far, and I'm going to be pushing forward. So I do thank everybody for that. But I don't have anything else. I just I'm a sigh of relief. I had a lot of struggles the last few weeks, and I've been holding off on a lot of information for several months now. It seems like it's all coming to fruition, so it's kind of good. It's kind of nice to see that the hard work starts to pay off a little bit, and you get to do these things. So anyhow, I'll throw pictures in here on Jim's knives, and until the next video, everybody, you take it easy. Have a good one. Thank you again for all the support, and remember, like, share, subscribe. Keeps me from the bottom of the YouTube bucket. Take care.